Phillies on top.
But this club just does not die.
He's under it. He's got it. And the game is over.
Baskin
swung on, crushed, and the Phillies are going to lead it 4-0. Just a towering fly ball to straightaway left. Sperber was ready. Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Max Miners Report here on the AAT Sports Network. This week, we have a very special guest. We have Josh Sperber, the voice of the Clearwater Threshers, the Phillies low A team. Josh, thank you so much for joining today. How you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're going to just kind of dive right into it. A lot of fans aren't aware that, the Threshers are one of, if not the best minor league team in all of baseball. So, as someone that gets to call the games, from your point of view, like, what's it kind of been like to be able to watch kind of the journey of, from the start of the season to now?
It's really just been special. I mean, you hear guys at the beginning of the season, the whole managerial staff talking about how special this team is, and you never know what to believe until you can actually see it. But I mean, there's just so much talent on this team, pitching, hitting, just top to bottom. This is one of the deepest teams that I've ever covered, and it's just so much fun to watch.
Was this a team, obviously there's a lot of talent on this team. If you look at the Phillies top 30 prospects, it's Clearwater is covered with those guys. Going into the season, have they exceeded your expectations? Have they done, more? What's kind of the start from the season look like?
I mean, honestly, I didn't really know what to expect. This is my first year going in low A. I had been in short season a couple of years. I'd been in high A the last 2 years. So I'd never been at the full season single A level before. So I didn't really know what to expect. I mean, these are guys who are fresh out of the draft. Most of them are in their first full season of pro baseball. And that we have, I think, like 5 or 6 kids who are under 20 years old. So it's just a very young team. And when guys are that young, you just don't really know what to expect. And I'd say exceeded my expectations for sure. I mean, a lot of guys who made their pro debuts and are already up in Jersey Shore. You look at Wesley Moore, who was a huge part of the closing staff. He hadn't pitched as a pro until this year, and he had an ERA of maybe 1 when he was in Clearwater. Gabe Rincones Jr. was one of the league leaders in extra base hits while he was here, and he was hurt last year. So this was his first full season as well. I mean, it's just been such a great ride. There have been so many talented players, and it truly is just a special team.
Yeah. So we want to talk about some of the guys down in low A. I think probably the biggest name right now. You just named one of the baseball's top 100 prospects. He's one of 2 Phillies playing the Futures game. Is going to be Justin Crawford. Obviously the son of former All-Star Carl Crawford. What have you seen from him throughout the season? Because, I don't believe he started in Clearwater this year. So, how have you seen him join the clubhouse and then to now to being one of the best prospects in all of baseball?
Yeah, I mean, he played, I think, 5 games for Clearwater last year and then has been a starter with the Threshers since opening day. So he's been really a center of that clubhouse for some time. I mean, you see this all across the minors, the guys who have the big names, who have a lot of notoriety coming in, the guys tend to rally around those kind of guys. And he just absolutely delivered. I mean, he's currently on a 15-game hitting streak, which is the longest in the league this season. He's hitting about 350. I mean, he's every bit the top prospect that the pundits are saying that he is. He is just a truly special player and spitting image of his dad too. Same kind of speed. That glove is incredible. He makes it look so easy in the outfield, and the dude can hit. He's 19 years old and 6'3", about 175 pounds. So he's going to have plenty of power when he fills out that frame as well. And already he's showing power to all fields. He's hitting balls in the gap every single game. I mean, he's just one of the most special players I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's when you watch him play and watch his film, like like you said, he's an image of his dad. I see so much of his dad and like just the maturity and everything. What someone that's you obviously been around him a lot throughout the season. What do the fans don't see? Like, what's he like around in the locker room? He's only 19. Is he already kind of stepped into that leadership role? At such a young age, or what do the fans don't see with him?
I remember I actually got the chance to interview him in spring training, and I remember thinking after I finished the interview that I just could not believe the kid was 19 years old. I mean, he is mature beyond his years, and that shows in the locker room. There are definitely times where him, like anyone else, is just going to be kind of focused on their own, completely in the zone, but he's just in the center of it with his teammates. You wouldn't really realize that he was a first round pick last year, signed for a huge signing bonus until you actually read about him. I mean, he's always in the center of his teammates. He's such a team first kind of guy. Absolutely loves doing it for the fans. I think every interview I've talked with him about, he's mentioned something about how great it is to have the fans supporting the team and how he just loves, just putting on a show for the people watching. So he's really the maturity in him has been even more impressive than the talent on the field, I think.
Yeah. So kind of moving to some other players on the club right now. Alex McFarland, a fellow draft pick last year of Justin Crawford, been one of the I always keep saying one of the best pitchers on the best team, but like the whole pitching staff from top on down with Clearwater has been phenomenal. What have you seen from Alex McFarland this season that fans should really be excited for the future?
He has just absolutely filthy stuff on the mound. I mean, he's got a fastball and a sinker, both of them that can hit anywhere between 96 and I've seen him get up to 100 miles an hour. Some really good breaking stuff and just a wipeout slider. But he's still 21 years old. Like he's a younger guy, but he is definitely someone who has big league stuff, and I think can be a front of the rotation starter for the Phillies in the future.
Yeah, and I know all Philly fans have always been really, really hyped on the top three pitching prospects and Painter, Abel, McGarry. Is McFarland in your eyes, like a little bit of a sleeper guy that people aren't talking about as much as, say those three guys who are in Double-A right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty easy to get caught up in those three guys because I mean, you've seen him pitch, like they're lights out. I mean, all three of those guys can hit near 100. I saw Griff McGarry sit at 98, 99 on his fastball when he rehabbed in Clearwater earlier this year. But there's still just a lot of pitching talent in the system. And I think, you have that big three, but then you look at some of the guys that have played for the Threshers this year. McFarland, starting wise, I think might be the best starter in the system outside of those top three guys. Mm-hmm. And then there's even plenty of talent in the bullpen. I mean, Ryan Kerkering started the year with us, and another guy that just from the first time he pitched, I was just blown away. And that I think is, I feel the Phillies' biggest sleeper pitching prospect. But if you're looking at starters specifically, yeah, McFarland is definitely one of those guys as well. I think he and Kerkering both have the chance to be a big part of the Phillies pitching staff going forward.
Yeah, Kerkering is actually the next player I was going to talk about. I remember when this is the start of the season. He literally was as unhittable as, I don't think I've seen a better, stretch of games out of a reliever just ever from, low A all the way up to the majors. Is he like his production though? He got to high A, he's playing just as well as he was doing in low A. So is that development and that success he's having the next level a surprise to you, or is this as expected as you would have imagined?
No surprise at all. I mean, you see what he did in Clearwater. I know that they say that the jump between low A and high A is maybe the most difficult, except for AAA to the majors, and he's made it with no problem. He's a guy who is very experienced, played a full collegiate career at UCF and or USF. I always get that confused, but anyway, full collegiate career at USF. So he came in pretty well polished, and I mean the stuff is as you said, completely unhittable. He's got a fastball that can hit up to 99, a ridiculous slider. I mean, I honestly think he's going to be in the big leagues next year. I think he's ready and he's that good. I mean, he has the chance to be a world-class closer.
Yeah, and kind of same thing I was talking about Justin. Like, we see the stats how great he is. Like, how was that him as a person, like in the locker room? Is he definitely a guy that, like, as he enters the game, the 8 guys in the field are going to be, super confident in him getting onto the mound.
Absolutely. I mean, he's the locker room for Clearwater is just so close. Like, there's really no division between any of the players. It's just such a family atmosphere from what I see from the guys. Like, everyone is just so tight. And Kerkering was definitely that guy. Like, even when he was in the bullpen, you could see the team's level raised. There were a couple of games. I think one in particular in April, I want to say, where the Threshers were down by a run or two, and he was warming up in the bullpen because, as you may know, in the minors, it's not like, okay, in the bullpen, this guy's a closer. Like, there are guys that are used in the late game, but in the 8th or 9th inning, regardless of the score, Kerkering would be going in just because that is how they want to develop him as a late inning guy. Right. So we were down by 1 or 2 runs. He gets up in the bullpen, and then the Threshers explode for 3 runs or so to get them in a lead, and then he ends up pitching just a 1, 2, 3, 9th inning, getting the save. So he's definitely that kind of guy that you can see that when he's even getting up in the bullpen, they know, okay, we got to win this game for this guy because he's going to get a shutout 9th inning. Might as well let him get the save.
Yeah. One thing I noticed about minor leagues, it's obviously everybody wants to win. Even these guys, they want to win these games, but it has been very big on development, and that's, everyone has their role. They got to try to develop them, because hopefully in a couple of years they're up in Citizens Bank Park playing for the Phillies. How has people adjusted to their roles? Like, have they taken their roles in lightly? What's kind of that mentality like for the team?
I mean, it's just all about winning, straight up. Like, yeah, minor leagues is a lot more focused on development, and these guys put in the work. I mean, at every single batting practice, you have multiple guys in the infield during BP taking extra ground balls. Talking to the coaches saying, hey, I want to work on this, this, and this. Like, these guys are so dedicated to developing themselves as players, but at the end of the day, their focus is winning games. I mean, even after the Threshers clinched the playoff spot in June, no one was satisfied. Everyone was everyone was excited, really pumped to get that playoff spot, but the only thing that they were talking about was getting a ring on their finger come September. So this team is just 100% about winning. And all of these guys will play whatever position they need to get the Threshers to a win.
Yeah. So kind of moving on to some other guys that are played in low A. Phillies have had a lot of guys come through here on rehab assignments. Obviously, it's not ideal. We don't want players to ever play on rehab assignments. We always want them to stay healthy. But seeing guys like Christian Pache, Derek Hall, Nick Nelson, I believe Bailey Falter was even down there when he got optioned down. Like, having these major league guys just in the clubhouse, even though it's for a short amount of time, how did the guys who are in low A kind of adjust to that and react to these major league guys playing with them?
Yeah, I mean, the big league guys really fit in seamlessly. We had Bailey Falter down for a week in Fort Myers, and he was every bit as pumped as the rest of the guys when we clinched the playoff spot. But it's really just about learning from him. I remember specifically every time that Derek Hall was taking batting practice at Baycare Ballpark, the entire batting turtle was just covered end to end with a bunch of different prospects, because these guys just wanted to see how this big league guy took his approach. And I remember Crawford won his first Player of the Week award when Rafael Marchand and Derek Hall were rehabbing. Hall was there for most of the week. Marchand was there for a game, but Marchand was there, drove in Crawford 3 times on 3 hits. And I remember asking him about, batting in front of these big league guys, these guys with major league experience. And he was just like, yeah, it just makes my job so much easier because I know that I'm going to get on base and they're going to get me home. That's exactly what it is. It's just another avenue for these guys to get themselves to a victory. But at the same time, they're still staying focused on their development. They're still getting better, and they're learning from these guys who have been there and done the things that they want to do in their career.
Yeah, I think anytime you get an opportunity to learn from just a major league guy. I remember last year I was at the Iron Pigs game when Bryce Harper was there. And obviously for the fans, it's amazing. Like you get a front row seat to see one of the game's best players, but you just even the other team, when Bryce Harper got up to bat, you can see all of them were up on the top step, just making sure they can get a look at him. Like,
Yeah.
So kind of moving some other guys, with like minor leagues, roster never really stays the same. There's always promotions. People always constantly getting promoted. Clearwater has been no different. They've had a lot of guys get promoted, but the success is still there. Did that just show you how deep of a clubhouse that really has, or are these guys just really, really stepping up right now?
I mean, you can't really pinpoint it to just one thing. Yes, the clubhouse is very deep. There's talent at all levels of this system. A big example for me has been in catching and in the middle infield, because some of the first couple of call-ups were Eric Brito and Caleb Ricketts. Ricketts was hitting 380 when he left, and then Jordan Disson comes up and doesn't skip a beat. Eric Brito was the end of the lineup, like kind of a second leadoff hitter as he was used. Great glove at second and short. 18-year-old William Bergoya comes in, and he just continues to hit, and he's been great in the field as well. So it's definitely the next man up, and these guys continue to step up because they want to keep getting those wins. But it's not just about the depth of the players; it's about the coaching staff as well. J.R. Murphy, Marty Malloy, Matt Hockenberry, Michael Jones, Gustavo Armas, like any of these guys that were originally with the team, or guys that have come in and helped from the complex as well. The coaching staff is just absolutely incredible. They relate so well to the players, and they really know how to get the best of them, because they just genuinely care so much about the guys getting better and about the team's success on the field.
Yeah, that was actually going to the next point. The coaching is obviously really, really big in the minors. It's obviously much more on development. Is it really, with the coaches, like how much credit are they getting? Some people always say it's always the players, they have the skills already, but how much effect do the coaches have on this clubhouse this season?
I mean, absolutely massive, top to bottom. Our hitting coach, Chris Heinz, I always see him putting in extra work with the guys. He's always very meticulous the way he goes over stuff and just make sure the guys are getting a little finer tuned parts of their swing right. The players have just such a good relationship with the coaching staff, and I don't think I've seen mound visits from a pitching coach more successful than Matt Hockenberry's, or even Gustavo Armas, who comes in from the complex from time to time. But yeah, I mean, it's just such a fantastic staff, and I think that the coaches deserve every bit as much credit as the guys on the field, because it's in the background, the coaches just motivating the players, and as I said, just really getting the best out of them day in and day out. And they want this ring as much as the guys do. It is just 100% let's win games, and that doesn't stop with the coaches at all.
Oh, that's awesome. So just kind of move some other players that kind of, everyone in the Phillies, a lot of fans have been talking about, like, say the top 10 prospects for the Phillies. There's a lot of big names in there. Talked about some today. Are there some prospects that might not even be on the Phillies top 30 prospects that we're not talking about, but we probably should start to, keep an eye on, for the future years?
Just put up a picture of the entire Threshers roster, because it's really all of them. It's really hard to differentiate from them, to be completely honest. I mentioned Jordan Disson, 12th round pick last year, JUCO guy. He has been really impressive. It's difficult to come in and replace a catcher who was the best hitter on the team. I mean, but Disson has done so without skipping a beat, as I mentioned before. Pitching wise, there's a bunch of really good ones. I really like Samuel Aldegheri, Italian left-hander, really good control. Still adding some more velo on his fastball. Really good breaking pitches though. And I mean, I could go all day. I mean, seriously, there's so much talent, top prospects or not. There are a lot of guys that I think are really flying under the radar. that are on this Threshers team that I think are going to make really good major league players.
That's awesome. Obviously with the Phillies, like with them being, World Series caliber team right now, with that, them probably being buyers at this year's deadline, which means some of the prospects might go. Are players always nervous about that? Like they could be on the move, especially being a prospect, or are they just simply not thinking about that and they just want to play baseball?
Yeah, I don't think it's something that's at the forefront of these guys' minds.
Mhm.
Like obviously, it's baseball. There's the business of it that they understand. It's not really something that's talked about in the clubhouse. You want to think like, hey, this is where we are. And especially these guys, they really do a good job of taking things day by day. Obviously, they have their goals set on making the majors. They have their goals set on winning the second half and the championship in the Florida State League this year. They're not going to think about going to a different team and potentially having to do something else. But I mean, I know if I'm a big league GM and I see a team like the Threshers, I'm not trading too many guys that are in single A that are a part of a team with one of the top 5 win percentages in not just minor league baseball, but all of baseball right now. So that's just me. Might be a little bit biased, but I mean, it's just not something that's on the players' minds. The only thing that these guys are thinking about are getting better every day and winning games.
Yeah. So kind of just last question. Obviously, starting the second half of the season coming up, what can we really expect out of Clearwater and these guys in low A? Should we see some more call ups, to either high A, to double A and triple A, kind of etc. Or what should we kind of expect from this team, the second half of the season?
Well, these guys are definitely the guys in Clearwater, definitely gunning for a ring. I think I don't think they're going to stop until they win that championship. But in minor league baseball, you can never really predict when guys are going to get called up. But I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of guys that are going to get a call. There might be some guys from Jersey Shore that go up. I'd be pretty surprised if Kirkering ends the season in high A. I'd imagine he'll get to double A at some point. But I mean, you never really know. I'm just excited to watch it unfold and see it happen and hopefully get a ring with these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have one of the best jobs in baseball. You get to watch baseball and talk about it every single night. I think it's everybody's dream right there.
Certainly mine. I mean, I'm no athlete myself, so getting paid to talk about sports is the closest that I'm gonna get to do it. And watching great baseball like this and seeing so many guys that have such a bright future ahead of them hit really well at the single A level is just absolutely fantastic. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else right now.
What made you want to get into to broadcasting?
It's just always something that I was really interested in. I grew up in New York, so I'd watch Michael Kay on TV. I'd listen to John Sterling on the radio. Ian Eagle for basketball as well. So it's just always something that I was interested in doing, and I was grateful to get the opportunity at the school where I went to, Lafayette College, and it just kind of came up from there. It's really just been a snowball effect, and it's amazing to me that I started from just doing behind the scenes in TV production, and now I'm the voice of a single A team that again is the best team in minor league baseball right now.
It's crazy how life works itself out sometimes, but
yeah,
that's awesome. Well, Josh, thank you so much for hopping on. We have Josh Sperber, the voice of the Clearwater Threshers, on. This is another episode of the Max Minor Report. We'll see you all next week.